Hey coin enthusiasts! What if I told you that the nickel in your pocket could be worth a small fortune? I'm not talking about just a few dollars, I'm talking about the kind of money that could change your life. Stay with me, because I'm about to reveal how a simple mistake at the US Mint turned some ordinary 1979 nickels into treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. You might be thinking, come on, it's just a nickel. But here's the thing, in 2022, a single 1979 nickel sold for an amount that left the entire numismatic community speechless. And the craziest part? There could be more of these valuable coins still out there, sitting in piggy banks, coin jars, or even in your pocket right now. Before we dive into what makes these nickels so special, let me tell you about something that happened at a private collection in Montana. A mysterious theft, an FBI investigation, and a coin that would later resurface under the most unexpected circumstances, but we'll get to that incredible story in a bit. First, let's step back in time to understand why the 1979 nickel holds such significance in American numismatic history. The Jefferson nickel, designed by Felix Schlag, had been a staple of American currency since 1938. Schlag's design, featuring Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his beloved Monticello on the reverse, became an iconic piece of American coinage. But 1979 wasn't just another year for nickel production. The U.S. Mint was going through significant changes, implementing new equipment and procedures. These changes would inadvertently create some of the most valuable error coins ever produced. The mint workers had no idea that their minor mistakes would later create coins worth more than their annual salaries. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Among all the 1979 nickels produced, there exists a variety so rare that most collectors don't even know about it. But before I reveal that secret, let's talk about the major errors that make some 1979 nickels worth serious money. The double die obverse, DDO, is perhaps the most well-known error. Imagine looking at Jefferson's profile and seeing a distinct doubling in the details, almost like a ghost image floating slightly off from the main design. This doubling occurred during the die-making process, when the hub struck the die multiple times at slightly different angles. The result? A coin that makes collectors' hearts race and wallets open wide. But that's just the beginning. Some 1979 nickels were struck off-center, creating pieces where the design appears to be sliding off the edge of the coin. While most off-center strikes are slight, there are some spectacular examples where nearly half the design is missing. One such piece sold for an astronomical sum that would make your jaw drop, but we'll get to that specific auction later. Then there's the holy grail for Jefferson nickel collectors, full steps. On the reverse of the coin, Monticello's steps should be clearly defined with distinct lines. Most 1979 nickels show worn or poorly struck steps, but when you find one with fully separated, razor-sharp step details, that's when magic happens. A full steps 1979 nickel in pristine condition can command prices that would make luxury car dealers envious. But here's something that keeps veteran collectors up at night: the rarest 1979 nickel variety isn't even one of these well-documented errors. It's something entirely different, something so subtle that it passed unnoticed for decades. And when it was finally discovered, let's just say it changed everything we thought we knew about 1979 nickels. Speaking of changing everything, let me tell you about some recent auction results that have sent shockwaves through the collecting community. We're talking about 1979 nickels selling for prices that could buy you a house in some parts of the country. One particular specimen, graded MS-70, that's absolute perfection in coin grading terms, sold for a price that made headlines in numismatic publications worldwide. But here's the catch: with such high values come the counterfeiters. They've become incredibly sophisticated, creating fakes that can fool even experienced collectors. I'll share some insider tips on how to protect yourself, including one crucial detail that counterfeiters always seem to miss. This single telltale sign has saved countless collectors from making expensive mistakes. Now, remember that Montana collection I mentioned earlier? In 2015, a private collector noticed something unusual about one of his 1,979 nickels. Upon closer inspection, he realized he had something unprecedented in his hands. But before he could announce his discovery to the numismatic world, the unthinkable happened. The coin disappeared. What followed was one of the most intense investigations in numismatic history. The FBI became involved, following leads across multiple states. The coin's trail led them to some very unexpected places, including the vault of a prominent figure whose identity shocked everyone involved. When the nickel finally resurfaced 3 years later, it wasn't just the coin that made headlines, it was the story behind its journey, the most fascinating part. The person who had this coin wasn't some sophisticated thief or experienced collector. They had no idea what they possessed. In fact, they were about to use it in a vending machine when something caught their eye. That moment of attention literally saved them from spending a coin worth more than most people make in a year. But here's what really keeps me up at night: how many of these rare 1979 nickels are still out there? How many are sitting in old coffee cans, passed over by collectors who don't know what to look for? That's why I'm about to share some crucial tips that could help you identify a valuable 1979 nickel. First, you'll want to examine the mint mark. While Philadelphia minted coins have no mint mark, Denver minted coins show a D. But it's not just about the mint mark, it's about how it appears. Some 1979 D nickels show signs of what collectors call mint mark doubling, where the D appears slightly thick or fuzzy. This variety alone can be worth thousands in high grades. When examining your 1979 nickel, you'll want to pay special attention to Jefferson's hair details. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to look for any signs of doubling, particularly around the hair and the word liberty. Even slight doubling can significantly increase the coin's value. But be careful, not all doubling is valuable. I'll explain exactly what to look for and what to avoid. The reverse of the coin deserves just as much attention. Those Monticello steps I mentioned earlier. They're crucial. But here's a pro tip that most guides won't tell you: before you even look at the steps, examine the columns. The relationship between the columns and steps can tell you immediately if you have a potentially valuable specimen. And let's talk about preservation. If you think you have a valuable 1979 nickel, handle it properly. Never clean it. That's a mistake that has destroyed countless valuable coins. Instead, store it in a proper holder and consider having it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade certification can multiply your coin's value many times over, but perhaps the most important advice I can give you is this: take your time. The most valuable 1979 nickels have been found by patient collectors who knew exactly what they were looking for. They didn't rush, they didn't make assumptions, and most importantly, they never stopped learning about their craft. Remember that mysterious Montana nickel I mentioned? Well, its current owner isn't a wealthy collector or a prestigious museum. It's someone who might be watching this video right now. They found it in their grandmother's collection, mixed in with ordinary pocket change. They took the time to learn, to examine, and to preserve what they had. And now, they own one of the most valuable 1979 nickels in existence. So the next time you're going through your change, pay attention to those 1979 nickels. Look closely at Jefferson's profile, check those Monticello steps, and remember the stories I've shared. Because you never know, you might be holding on to something extraordinary. And speaking of extraordinary coins, wait until you hear about the rare dime I'll be discussing in my next video. It's a coin so valuable that it makes these 1979 nickels look like pocket change. But that's a story for another day. If you've ever found a rare coin in your change, drop a comment below and share your story. Who knows? Maybe you'll inspire someone else to make an amazing discovery. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to catch more videos about incredible coins and the fascinating stories behind them. Remember, in the world of coin collecting, knowledge isn't just power, it's profit. And sometimes, that profit can be life-changing. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go check my piggy bank for 1979 nickels. Happy hunting, everyone. In your pocket right now, there might be a coin worth more than your monthly salary. A simple piece of metal that could change your life forever. I'm talking about the 2003 US nickel, a coin that's been hiding an extraordinary secret in plain sight for over 2 decades. Picture this: you're cleaning out your old coin jar, sifting through countless pieces of change, when suddenly, you spot it. That distinct Jefferson profile, the year 2003 stamped beneath it. Most people would toss it back without a second thought, but after watching this video, you'll never look at this coin the same way again. The story of the 2003 nickel isn't just about money, it's about mystery, transformation, and a pivotal moment in American numismatic history. Every coin tells a story, but this one whispers secrets that could make fortune hunters' hearts race. Since 1938, the Jefferson nickel had been a constant companion in American pockets. That dignified profile of our third president, Thomas Jefferson, gazing to the left, with his beloved Monticello gracing the reverse, it was as familiar as a family portrait. But in 2003, something unprecedented was stirring within the walls of the U.S. Mint. A change was coming, one that would make this particular year's nickel production uniquely significant. You see, 2003 marked the final full year of the traditional Jefferson nickel design before everything changed. The U.S. Mint was preparing for something big, the Westward Journey Nickel Series, a commemoration of the Lewis and Clark expedition's bicentennial. This made the 2003 nickel not just another coin, but the last guardian of a design that had accompanied Americans through World War II, the Cold War, and into the new millennium. But here's where things get interesting. While the Mint was preparing for this historic change, something else was happening, something that wouldn't be discovered until years later. Collectors began noticing peculiarities in some 2003 nickels. Subtle variations, almost invisible to the untrained, started appearing in auctions, commanding prices that would make your jaw drop. Think about this: in 2003, the Philadelphia Mint produced 294,040,000 nickels, while Denver added another 383,760,000. Among these hundreds of millions of coins, a handful emerged with characteristics so unique, so rare, that they've become the holy grail for modern coin collectors. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, and even more mysterious anomalies that experts are still debating today. One particular error coin from 2003 recently sold at auction for a price that would buy you a luxury car. Imagine finding that in your spare change. But what makes these error coins so valuable isn't just their rarity, it's the story they tell about a crucial moment in American minting history. The last year of the traditional design, quality control at the mint was supposedly at its peak. Yet, some of the most fascinating error coins in modern numismatics somehow made it into circulation. Was it mere coincidence? Or was something else at play? Here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. In late 2003, a collector in Ohio made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. Under intense magnification, they noticed something unusual about the lettering on their 2003 nickel. What they found sparked a debate that continues to this day, a debate that could rewrite the books on modern American coinage. The timing couldn't have been more intriguing. Just as the Mint was preparing to bid farewell to the traditional Jefferson design, these anomalies started appearing. Some experts suggest these weren't accidents at all, but intentional, farewell signatures, left by Mint employees who knew they were crafting the end of an era. But the real mystery lies in what collectors call the Shadow Series, a handful of 2003 nickels that exhibit an almost imperceptible doubling in Jefferson's hair. These coins are so rare that many doubt their existence. Yet, when they do surface, they command prices that could fund a college education. The numismatic community has been buzzing with theories. Some point to documented changes in the Mint's die-making process during 2003. Others suggest these variations were test runs for the upcoming Westward Journey series. But what if there's more to the story? Consider this: in the months leading up to the design change, the Mint was experimenting with new techniques for the upcoming commemorative series. Some speculate that these experiments might have affected regular production runs in ways we're only now beginning to understand. The evidence? It's in the metal itself. Under electron microscope analysis, certain 2003 nickels show microscopic variations in their metallic structure, variations that shouldn't exist according to standard mint procedures. These findings have led some experts to suggest that the 2003 nickel might be more than just the last of an era, it might be a bridge between two distinct chapters in American coinage. But here's what makes this truly extraordinary: these variations aren't just random errors. They follow patterns that suggest intention rather than accident. And that's where the controversy begins. Were these really mistakes, or were they deliberate markers left for future generations to discover? The debate intensified when a former Mint employee came forward with an intriguing claim. According to their testimony, there was unusual activity in the quality control department during certain production runs in 2003. Records from that period show irregular patterns in die replacement, patterns that don't match standard protocols. This brings us to perhaps the most tantalizing aspect of the 2003 nickel story: the possibility that somewhere out there, in circulation, exists what collectors call the perfect specimen, a 2003 nickel with a combination of characteristics so rare that its discovery would revolutionize modern coin collecting. Think about that for a moment. Every time you receive change, every time you pass a coin jar, you might be looking at a piece of history worth thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 2003 nickel isn't just a coin, it's a mystery waiting to be solved, a treasure waiting to be discovered. What makes this even more fascinating is how these coins reflect the broader changes happening in American society at the time. 2003 was a year of transition, in technology, in culture, and yes, in our currency. These nickels are more than just collector's items, they're time capsules of a pivotal moment in American history. But perhaps the most compelling aspect of this story is what it tells us about value itself. How can a 5-cent piece become worth thousands? It's not just about rarity or condition, it's about story, about significance, about being at the right place at the right time in history. As we wrap up this numismatic journey, consider this: every 2003 nickel in circulation is potentially special. Whether it's one of the known varieties or perhaps something yet to be discovered, these coins represent a unique moment in American minting history. They're the last guardians of a design that served America for 65 years, and potentially, their hiding secrets we're still uncovering. So the next time you're handling change, pay special attention to those 2003 nickels. Look closely at Jefferson's profile, examine the lettering, check for any unusual characteristics. You might just be holding one of those legendary specimens that collectors dream about. What do you think about the 2003 nickel story? Do you have any in your collection? Share your thoughts and discoveries in the comments below. And if you're intrigued by the mysteries of American coinage, you won't want to miss next week's video, where we'll explore what might be the rarest nickel ever minted, a coin so exceptional that its very existence was kept secret for decades. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated on more numismatic mysteries and potential fortune-finding opportunities. Until then, keep checking your change. You never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. And as we end today's exploration, let me leave you with this thought: under this magnifying glass, I'm looking at what could be the most valuable nickel ever discovered. Is it from 2003? You'll have to tune in next week to find out. This is where history, mystery, and fortune converge, and you won't want to miss it. Hey coin enthusiasts and curious minds! Today, we're diving into a story that might just change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but could potentially be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's right, we're talking about the 1986 US nickel, a coin that's been the subject of heated debates in collecting circles for decades. Picture this: you're cleaning out an old drawer and find a handful of change. Among them, a seemingly ordinary 1986 Jefferson nickel catches your eye. Most people would just toss it back or spend it without a second thought. But what if I told you that this humble 5-cent piece could be hiding a secret that makes it worth more than a brand new luxury car? In 1986, America was riding high. The economy was booming, Top Gun was ruling the box office, and the Statue of Liberty was celebrating its centennial. But in the quiet halls of the US Mint, something extraordinary was happening, something that wouldn't be fully understood or appreciated for years to come. The Jefferson nickel of 1986 features the familiar profile of our third president on the obverse, his stern gaze fixed eternally to the left, while the reverse showcases his beloved Monticello estate. But don't let this traditional design fool you. The real story lies in what happened during the minting process that year. You see, 1986 was a year of transition for the U.S. Mint. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints were all operating at full capacity, churning out millions of these 5-cent pieces. But here's where things get interesting. Amid this massive production, something unusual occurred. The pressure to meet demand led to some fascinating anomalies that would later become the holy grail for serious collectors. Let me tell you about Mark Henderson, a collector from Ohio who made headlines when he discovered something extraordinary about his 1986 nickel. While examining his coin under magnification, he noticed what experts would later confirm as an extremely rare double-die error. This single coin, purchased for face value at a local convenience store, later sold at auction for an astounding $45,000. But here's the kicker: experts believe there could be more of these valuable errors still in circulation, but the double die isn't the only error that makes these coins special. There are reports of misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and even what collectors call broad strikes, coins struck outside their normal collar, resulting in a wider, flatter appearance. One particularly remarkable example showed up in a roll of nickels in Arizona. The coin had been struck 15% off-center, creating a distinctive crescent-shaped blank space that made it instantly valuable. That single nickel sold for $28,000 at a specialized coin auction in 2019. Now, you might be thinking, sure, but those are just lucky finds. Well, hold on to your hats, because we're just getting started. The real mystery of the 1986 nickel goes deeper than just production errors. It involves a fascinating quirk in the minting process that year that affected the metal composition ever so slightly. Due to a temporary change in their metal supplier, some 1986 nickels contain a minutely different ratio of copper to nickel than their counterparts from other years. This difference is so subtle that it took decades for collectors to notice, but when they did, it changed everything. The variation in metal content has led to something coin collectors call toning, a natural discoloration that occurs over time. But here's the fascinating part: the unique metal composition of certain 1986 nickels causes them to tone in spectacular ways, creating stunning rainbow patterns that make them highly prized by collectors. A perfectly toned 1986 nickel in pristine condition can fetch upwards of $100,000 from the right buyer. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the 1986 nickel story involves the proof coins produced at the San Francisco Mint. These specially struck coins, marked with an S mint mark, were created for collectors and typically sold in proof sets. However, a small number of these proofs somehow made it into general circulation. Finding one of these escaped proof nickels is like finding a needle in a haystack, but the reward could be enormous. A circulated 1986 S-proof nickel discovered in pocket change sold for $67,000 at a 2021 auction. The condition of these coins plays a crucial role in their value. A 1986 nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition, what collectors call MS-70, is extraordinarily rare. The combination of age, handling, and the coin's somewhat soft composition means that finding one in perfect condition is almost impossible. Almost. In 2020, a collector in Seattle made headlines when their perfectly preserved 1986 nickel was certified as MS-70. Experts estimated its value at over $150,000. But here's what makes this story even more compelling: we might just be scratching the surface. Coin experts believe that the full potential of the 1986 nickel hasn't yet been realized. As more collectors begin to understand the unique characteristics of these coins, their value could skyrocket. Some numismatists are predicting that certain varieties of the 1986 nickel could be worth millions within the next decade. So, how do you identify a potentially valuable 1986 nickel? First, check the date. Obvious, right? But then look closely at the surface under good lighting. Any unusual doubling, particularly around Jefferson's profile or the lettering, could indicate a valuable double-die error. Check the edges. A broader than normal coin might be a valuable broad strike. And don't forget to look for that precious S mint mark. it could be your ticket to a small fortune. The preservation of these coins is crucial. If you think you found a valuable specimen, handle it only by the edges and store it in a proper coin holder. Never clean your coins, this can dramatically reduce their value. Instead, have them professionally evaluated by a certified numismatic expert. Consider this: every day, thousands of 1986 nickels pass through cash registers, get dumped into coin jars, or lie forgotten in old collections. Any one of them could be worth a fortune. It's not just about the money, though. These coins represent a unique moment in American minting history, a time when various factors aligned to create something truly special. The story of the 1986 nickel is still being written. New discoveries are made regularly, and with each finding, the numismatic community's understanding of these remarkable coins grows. Some collectors believe that the rarest varieties haven't even been discovered yet. Think about that: the most valuable 1986 nickel might still be out there, sitting in someone's spare change or forgotten coin collection, just waiting to be discovered. The investment potential of these coins cannot be overstated. While not every 1986 nickel will be worth a fortune, the rarer varieties have shown consistent value appreciation over the years. As more collectors become aware of their significance, the demand for high-grade specimens continues to grow. It's a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and growing collector interest. For those serious about collecting these coins, I recommend investing in a good magnifying glass and familiarizing yourself with the known rare varieties. Join online coin collecting communities where you can share discoveries and learn from experienced collectors. Keep up with auction results to understand current market values. And most importantly, never stop searching. Your next handful of change could contain a coin worth thousands. We've explored the fascinating world of the 1986 nickel, from its historical context and rare errors to its investment potential and hidden secrets. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of this story is that it's still unfolding. New discoveries are waiting to be made, and one of them could be made by you. So, next time you receive change, take a moment to check those nickels. Look for the date 1986, and remember everything we've discussed today. You might just find yourself holding a small piece of metal worth more than you ever imagined. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Drop a comment below and share your story. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories about valuable coins hiding in plain sight. Hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss our next video, where we'll be uncovering the incredible story of the 1943 steel penny, another coin that might be worth a fortune. Until then, keep checking those coins, and happy hunting. Who knows? The next great numismatic discovery might be sitting in your pocket right now.